Hello everyone, it is B with the B Code and welcome back to my channel. I'm back at you again with another video. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers and those who watch my videos. Now, I want to start off by saying this. I consider myself to be a content creator. However, this is a hobby for me, right? I take on the perspective of just putting out my opinion, some facts, um, supported by research, and also content supported by other people's opinions. I'm not here to clown around. I'm not here to make people feel good about being degenerates in society. I'm not here to um, be apologetic about what's going on in society. I just simply want to talk about it, right? I feel as if my content enlightens, right? It educates, and it also brings people to a level of truth in their life. Because one of the things I notice is that people do not like the truth. They love content that makes them feel good. They love content that supports their bad behavior, their negative thoughts, their negative lifestyle. I'm not here to do any of that. Although I don't consider myself to be a perfect person in society, I pretty much do what I'm supposed to do, and then I exit stage left. Now, I decided to do a video on daughter husbands, right? Because there are daughter husbands out there. And you would say, well, what do you mean by a daughter husband? That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you describe her as a daughter wife if she's still at home with her mother? No, I describe her as a daughter husband. And as I go further into my content, I'm going to tell you why. So let's get into it. So I Googled the son husband, and this is the definition they gave me. It says husband son hybrid, a noun. An adult male from an immigrant background living at home with his mother and or siblings who fulfills the emotional and intellectual needs of his mother at the expense of his own personal, romantic, and or emotional development. Now, I agree and disagree with this definition. If we were back in olden days and the women were still innocent and there was no social media and there was no, um, there wasn't a hoe on every corner in every household, and the mothers weren't degenerates and the fathers were still in the home, then I could see an adult male sacrificing his personal, romantic, or emotional development to be at home with his family, just basically because he's a mama's boy, right? I would agree in those instances. However, we are in an age where the women are basically not suitable for marriage. The women, the girls, the men, no one in today's society is suitable for marriage. They cannot handle a relationship. They cannot cut out the devil's vices. They cannot remove themselves from all the pleasurable things that are going on in the world, which is required in order to have a successful marriage, successful relationship, and raise children successfully as they used to do back in the day, right? So, even with the economy being the way it is, there's just too many reasons for a man to be at home to define him as a son husband, right? Now, I can see him fulfilling the emotional needs of his mother if she was still uh, child minded, right? Childlike, had childlike behavior, um, you know, attention seeker, wanting validation from men and not getting it. So therefore, she turns to her son for that validation. Yeah, I can see that. However, if there's no man in the home and there is an older son, adult son, and there are women in the home, mother, daughters, even brothers, I could see him having in his mind an obligation to make sure that his family progresses in a positive way because after all it's his family, right? So the son husband thing for me, it today in today's society and the way the world is, it kind of, it doesn't make sense. It's just a way to describe a man who has come to the reality that there aren't any suitable women in society for him to give his time, romance, and emotional support to. At the end of the day, a lot of these men, what have they done? They have ended up on social media talking poorly about women, having misconceptions of what a wife is and what she's supposed to do. And even if their idea of a wife is correct, their behavior and mindset as a husband is not up to par, right? So even though we might have a match in the woman, the man's mind is still in disarray, and he feels it more important to listen to other men in society than to base his thoughts, actions, and perceptions um, um, as far as what's going on in his home, right? So there's a lot of negative male influence out in society that causes men to be unfit for a relationship. I didn't make it up. I just see what's going on in society. I see that there are a lot of men that are more attracted to Instagram girls, Facebook girls, TikTok girls, right? OnlyFans girls, and they're speaking out of their minds um, how they want fit, feminine, friendly, and submissive wives at home, yet all their attention is turned towards women of the night. So even what's coming out of their mouth and how they're behaving doesn't match, right? So anyway, let's move on to the daughter wife or the daughter husband. I got something regarding the daughter wife as well. But let's talk about the daughter husband. Now, when we say daughter husband, we could just put that in place of the son husband. Everything that I just said about the son husband, just put a girl in that spot. Put daughter in place of the son, right? So we could say the same thing about a daughter. There aren't any suitable men for marriage in today's society, okay? It is what it is. I didn't do it. Society did it to themselves. So even if the daughter did everything that she was supposed to do, her mom raised her to cook, her mom raised her to clean, basically take care of a household, how to respect a man, what a man wants, what a man thinks, how to support him in his goals, how to do everything correct as a wife. She will still go out there and be used. She will still go out there and be hoodwinked and bamboozled because these men are simply not fit for marriage or running a home. Okay? So, even if the mother has a tight hold on her and she says, honey, don't leave the house until you find a husband, these men will still come knocking at the door, pretending like they want to marry her until they get what they want, and then they haul ass in the opposite direction. They're just not to be trusted. So, a daughter in her right mind, with right guidance, right leadership from her mother, would pretty much stay at home, help mom in the home, grow as a woman, and continue, I guess, to wait in vain for that perfect man to come along and sweep her off her feet and take care of her for the rest of her life. I don't know about you guys, but in this day and age, the chances are slim to none. Now, that's not to say it's never going to happen. However, we have a lot of older men out here that are looking for daughter wives, right? They're looking for that young girl that can be, or that can be his daughter. That's young enough to be his daughter, but he wants to make her his wife. And basically, it's because he's still childish in the mind or retarded, as the definition gives. I didn't give it. The definition of a daughter wife is um, a young girl who's a wife to an old man who is simply retarded in the mind. So, therefore, he has not grown past a certain stage in life, and these younger girls um, are a match for the level that their mind is on. Right? I didn't say it, I didn't give the definition. Go look it up yourselves. I'm not going to put it on here. Look it up. Now, there are some other reasons that I did mention in the beginning of the video that would cause a daughter to be at home and be a substitute for a husband to the mother. Number one, a lot of times these women, they do not know how to raise daughters because they were raised incorrectly themselves. And instead of seeking how to be a good mother or seeking out how to be a good mother, they just simply never do so. So therefore, they end up raising their daughters basically the same way they were raised, which I would consider to be generational cycles, right? Sometimes you'll hear people say you have to break the cycle, and you do. If you want your children to not grow up the same way you grew up and suffer the same things that you've suffered through, as a mother, you would do different things in your life. You would not take on the behavior of your mother. You would not take on the traditions of your mother. You would do things differently, meaning starting your own, right? Even if you end up as a single mom, maybe the same way your mother did, you're still going to make it a point to do things differently, right? Now, since we have a lot of women who don't know how to be mothers, who don't know how to be women, who don't know how to be wives, they tend to ruin their daughters at very, very, very young ages. And, I've seen it myself out in public. She's cursing at the little girl. She's slapping the little girl upside the head. She's not showing her how to be a lady. She has the little girl dressed like a thought. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna not believe my own eyes. The way some of these women talk to their daughters is disgusting, right? It's disgusting. And a lot of times it's either because they see the daughter has a bright future ahead of them and they're jealous, they want to stomp that out, right? It could be that the daughter is beautiful and the mom is ugly. We're just going it is what it is. We're going to keep it 100. A lot of women are jealous of their daughters, right? We got a lot of fat black, light skin, bald headed, no hair on the side mothers who have daughters that are coming up beautiful, head full of hair, and you can just see what a lovely girl, what a lovely woman she's going to be. And a lot of mothers are jealous of that. And it is what it is. I'm not here to make people feel good, like I said. I'm here to tell the truth. So therefore, those types of mothers tend to ruin the self-esteem of the child early on. They basically, in a sense, turn her into a monster, right? So instead of for her to be a young lady wearing nice, pretty dresses and appropriate clothing, she's usually turned into a hood rat at a very, very young age. And not speaking in terms of a sexual hood rat, just a hood rat by appearance, a hood rat in behavior. The mouthy, the cursing, the raunchy dressing, the running the streets, because a lot of these girls start that stuff very, very early. And then they find other girls that have been treated the same way. They find them and they run around the streets together. Hence your Instagram thoughts, your strippers, your prostitutes, your promiscuous women, your gold diggers, and those types of people, right? Now, which makes her unsuitable for marriage, right? So either she's going to have her own house, either she's going to be living with her friends, either she's going to have that thug boyfriend that keeps her in a raunchy environment and mindset, or she's going to be at home with mom, continuing to be degraded and abused and talked down to, right? Now, here's another instance where a daughter would become a daughter husband, right? Let's say, for example, she's not the thought, she's not the prostitute, she's not the promiscuous girl. She has done things the way she's supposed to do them, and she just realizes that there aren't any suitable men out here, so she just chooses to live a life of solitude, right? She just wants to come home, she wants to do her own thing, go to work, take care of herself, and, just be happy being alone, right? And since the mother did not do her life appropriately or accordingly, what usually ends up happening? Mom usually ends up having to move in with the daughters, right? We still got a lot of Section 8 moms out here, and the children are all grown. We have a lot of moms out here who their relationships didn't work after chasing a man or men for 100 years. She still doesn't end up with a man. Um, Maybe she's now retired and out of the workforce and she's on her SSI and she can't afford to maintain a home on her own. So what ends up happening? She ends up moving in with her daughter, taking over her daughter's house as the wife in the house, and treating her daughter in the same disgusting way she would treat her husband or her boyfriend, her beta man, right? So she'll end up running the daughter around the house. A lot of times when these moms move in your house, they like to take over what I will call the woman's kitchen. So they're up in the morning, they're cooking, they're cleaning, they're mopping, they're washing, and you're basically the daughter is just basically the husband who's getting up and going to work and coming home and paying the bills. That's the daughter husband, right? Um, she is basically punked around the house by her mother, which is really the reason why the mom didn't end up with a man, because she was too bossy. She acted like the man, even though she did the woman's role in the home. She was that nagging bitch that men just really don't want to end up with. So, therefore, she moves in with her daughter, and her daughter ends up being her daughter husband. Let me know what y'all think. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? Um, we have to get out of this thing of the son husband, right? Oh, she's treating her son as if he's her husband. No, she's providing the person that came out of her womb with a safe environment, uh, an environment they don't have to worry in, an environment where they can be themselves. And since the women in society aren't suitable, what man in his right mind would go out there to take care of one of these broads? Right? Now, if we were speaking in terms of just family, let's just put it in family perspective and how a family could go, or how traditional families used to run their homes. Well, usually the daughter stayed home until she was married. She would go from her mother's house to her husband's house. The son, he would prepare himself to receive a wife, right? So, which means if he was getting to the point, if he was raised correctly by his father, which we don't know the meaning of those anymore because they're not around, he would maybe have graduated high school, gotten a trade, got a job, maybe got interested in a young girl while he's still at home, right? He's grown, but he's still at home, and he has taken a liking to maybe the young girl across the street or around the corner, or he was introduced to the young girl by maybe his father's friend's daughter or father's friend or something. However, it was a lot of times these situations were arranged. Like the kids didn't run the street, so therefore the parents who hung out with other parents, they would pretty much put their son and daughter together to say, hey, you have a nice daughter, you have a nice son, how about they get together? So therefore, you would have your daughter leaving her mother's home to her husband's home. You would have the son who learns how to prepare a home and will prepare a home once he has found a young lady that is worthy of being married. Then he will go out and prepare a home with the help of his parents and possibly her parents as well, right? These things are just simply not happening today in the lower society, right? Maybe it's still happening, in the Jack and Jill culture. But as far as just the basic main society, this is not what's happening. You have a lot of these young men and women meeting each other out in the street. They're incompatible. Um, they're using their eyes and not their brains. They're using their body parts and not their brains to um, try and match up with each other. And it's just simply not working, right? So, this is why we have a lot of BS going on in society today, and no one is basically suitable to live together in a home and then raise children. It's just simply not happening. We have a lot of YouTube content creators who are talking about the woman is this, the woman is that, and then we have women content creators talking about the man is this and the man is that, and everybody is just basically, in my opinion, full of shit. You have a lot of men on here, a lot of black men on YouTube that are talking about black women. and yet and still they lay down with women of no color when they go to bed. So to me, I don't even understand how they can fix their lips to be talking about a black woman when they don't even date black women, right? Whatever reason it is they don't date black women, they should keep it to themselves. You've decided to go outside of your race, so why don't you go talk about those people? It is what it is. So anyway, this was just my take on the daughter husband. If you feel like you want to, go ahead and put in the comment section your comments and tell me what you think.